back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's Alexa Ray. And welcome to another video. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. I am super excited because we are doing a reading vlog today, and it just so happens to be the most highly, and I literally mean this, is the most highly requested book as well as recommended book on my channel. I have been recommended this book for over a year now, so we are literally talking the beginning of my booktube channel. My first ever video was a bookstore vlog, and you guys were recommending me this book, this entire series. It has been recommended to me now for over an entire year, and I am finally picking it up. It's taken me so long to pick this book up because I just get nervous. I get so nervous when books are super hyped up because then I feel like I set unrealistic standards for them, and I always wind up disappointed in that. I put this book off for a very, very long time because it was so highly requested on my channel, and so many of you had talked about this book to me, raved about it. The entire series is just supposed to be like the best romance series out there. I was always super nervous to pick it up, but we are going to be reading Addicted to You in today's video. This is by Krista and Becca Richie. This is a pretty big book series, I believe. There are 9 books total in the series, and this series intertwines with the Calloway Sisters series, so there's 9 books total with them both combined. Yeah, we're going to be reading book 1 today. I'm super excited. So many people have raved about the Calloway Sisters series, and they say the Calloway Sisters series is like the best series out there, but to read that series, you gotta start with the OG. So Addicted to You is about 2 best friends, Lo and Lily. They are best friends, they're lovers, it's a fake dating trope. It is also about addiction. So another reason why I haven't picked this book up is I've never actually read a book based around romance and addiction, so I just think it's really interesting. It's something completely new to me. You guys will see all my reactions in this video. It is going to be a spoiler-free video, but I am going to put a little spoiler section at the very end of this just so we can talk spoilers, because I know this book series is pretty old. I believe this came out in 2013, so a lot of people have already read this series and have read this book, so I'm going to put a spoiler section at the very end of this video and we can talk about spoilers, talk about what happens in it. With that being said, it does cover addiction. It covers very heavy, sensitive topics. I would definitely check for trigger warnings before getting into this book series. It's a very real and intense writing style, I would say, and you really get an insight into what their addictions are and what having an addiction is like, and just how hard it is to navigate life with those. Throughout this vlog, you'll also see me annotating a little bit, which I always get questions on. I do occasionally annotate my books, and you'll see that throughout this vlog that I annotated a little bit. Not my full annotation style, but we do annotate a little bit in this. We are finally going to jump in to this reading vlog. I am 99 pages in. We're on chapter 11. I've only read like this itty bitty part. I already feel like I know these characters so well, which is so weird because I feel like the last few books I've read recently, I haven't been able to connect with the characters, and I just feel like the way that they were described in books just wasn't enough for me. The fact that we're only 100 pages into this and I feel like I know Lily and Lo so well makes me feel really good. Like, it's a breath of fresh air. Honestly, I haven't read a very good or intriguing book in a hot minute, so this is getting me going. It's a breath of fresh air. So far, it's crazy. It's a wild ride, this book. We know going into the story that they obviously struggle with these addictions. So with that being said, it is a bit sad reading this story, but stepping away from that whole aspect of the story, I feel like there's a lot of miscommunication going on here, and I can't tell if it's really just miscommunication between the two of them or if Lily is just dumb. I don't know. I just feel like Lo is sending her all these signs, signals, and she's just not picking up on them. Other than that, we're just kind of getting an insight into their relationship, their friendship, their addictions. It's really interesting. I'm definitely intrigued. I've also been tabbing and highlighting in the book. I'll usually just use my pen and I'll underline quotes and stuff that I really like from the book, but I've actually been going through and highlighting it. This is the first book that I'm actually highlighting. I was a bit nervous at first notes going into it because I've never highlighted a book before and I was nervous the highlighter was like going to bleed through the pages. I got these really nice ones off of Amazon and the reviews were really good. So far, so good, but I've just been going through highlighting. I'm not following a specific way for annotating this book. I'm just highlighting quotes I really like, and then I'm also tabbing them along the way just so I know the spots that I did highlight. A lot of the stuff I've been highlighting and tabbing are just like little quotes that Lo says to Lily that I just think are so sweet and just show that he really cares about her. This one quote I highlighted and tabbed, I think it really shows the relationship between Lily and Lo. Lo tells Lily, "I love you, you're my best friend and the only person I've ever told that I have a problem." And then literally the page after that, I highlighted, "You know you can tell me anything, Lil, I'm not going anywhere." So I just think it's really sweet to see their relationship like that because it really shows how close they are, how much they trust each other. This last quote I just highlighted on page 98 right before we hit chapter 11. I'm also going to share with you because I don't think it's a spoiler at all, but I think it really shows just how much an addiction has power over a person. The chapter ends with, "I liked the high, the rush, and how it seemed to fill an emptiness that kept growing inside of me." A lot of addictions revolve around mental health and stuff like that, so I just thought that was a really powerful quote. But we are going to keep going. I'm very into this right now. I don't know if it's just because it revolves around addiction, and I've personally never read anything like this story. I've never read a romance that literally revolves around addiction. I think it's unique and so different. I just want to see how these two characters end up helping each other overcome their addictions and stuff like that. But we are gonna keep going. We're gonna keep annotating, highlighting, and see what happens next. I feel like this is going to be a roller coaster of emotions for me. Look how cute the tabbing is coming along. I am literally obsessed with it. I actually haven't tabbed any of my books with my new tabs yet, so I'm super excited about this. Yeah, I am so obsessed with how it's turning out. I have literally been tabbing so many different quotes in here because it's just super cool to see how things are starting to unravel and how Lily and Lo are starting to get on like a better form of communication, I guess you could say. I mentioned earlier that I think one of their key problems in their relationship, their friendship, is that they have so much miscommunication, and I feel like that's so common in any relationship, any friendship. I feel like a big thing that so many of us do is we are always thinking things that our partner obviously doesn't know. Like, we can't read each other's minds, and I feel like sometimes we forget that and we think that our partner knows what we're thinking or how we're feeling, and that's where the miscommunication starts to happen, and that's usually how fights happen and stuff like that. So we were seeing a little bit of that earlier in this book, and I feel like now they're starting to get on the same level, I guess you could say, and there is definitely a better understanding between the two of them. I made it all the way to chapter 17, page 148. This book is it's so fire. Like, you guys, seriously, you never steer me wrong. I'm so happy I finally picked it up because I can totally see the hype. We're only about halfway through, not even, and I'm just so like obsessed with their story. I just want to see what happens next. I kind of have a little anxiety for the two of them just because I feel like there's so many secrets in this book that are being kept, and I'm waiting for that all to just like explode in their faces, which sounds really bad and sounds kind of mean, but I just know it's inevitable. I know it's going to happen, so I'm just kind of waiting for that to happen. I tabbed a lot of quotes that were just kind of showing the signs of miscommunication between the two of them. Oh my gosh, okay. Page 136. I highlighted the heck out of this page. If you have this book and if you've read it, you already know. Page 136. I was really happy about it. I was happy that things were finally getting put out on the table and they were addressing certain things, because I think if I read like another chapter of this little miscommunication problem they were having, I think my head would have exploded, literally. Lily was driving me insane with how she was like, is this pretend? Is this not pretend? That was literally her character for 130 pages. Honestly, this whole chapter was a super big and important one. It was chapter 14. Probably one of my favorite chapters at the moment, just because again, things really heated up, things were escalating. We were finally kind of getting like the nudge in the story that we were waiting for. We are going to keep going. Like I said, we are almost halfway through this. The read so far is super easygoing. It's super fast paced, which I absolutely love when it comes to reading. Just keeps me really interested, honestly. So I appreciate when reads are pretty fast paced like this. Before we jump back into this, I actually thought it'd be really fun to fill out a little bit of stuff in my reading journal. I made a whole video about my reading journal a few months ago and we were setting it up together and stuff like that. Since that video though, I have actually got a whole new one for the new year. I'm super excited about it. My reading goal for this year is to read 50 books and I'm hoping we can make it there. I'm about like 20% through right now and we are literally only in the beginning of March, so I feel like it's very hopeful. I think we will achieve that goal this year. This reading journal covers, I believe, 52 book reviews total, so I decided to pick this one up instead of the other one I had because it just seemed more realistic for me. Then I'm also not wasting like an entire reading journal and I really wanted to just get like a whole new fresh one for this year. So this is my cutie little reading journal. When you open it up, it just says belongs to Alexa Raye, and throughout it there are just like these really cute book quotes. My index I actually already have started filling out, so these are some of the books I've already read this year, as well as my book ratings. I love this page because it's just really fun to like list the books I've read so far and color them in, but also have like an actual little star rating right here. I think it is so cute and it's so much fun when I finish a book to come in here and fill it out. But we are going to jump directly to the actual book reviewing page, and this is what it looks like. I've already filled out the title and the author for it, but I haven't filled out like any of the details, the started date, the finish date. I haven't filled out any of the questions. This page is dedicated for all my thoughts and quotes from the book, so I thought it'd be really fun to start jotting down some of my favorite quotes right here. We have just hit chapter 23. I wanted to stop now because the last two chapters were so crazy and so hectic, and I just need to take a moment to recoup from them. We meet two new characters, Connor and Reich, which are, I believe, two characters we see in the Calloway Sisters series, so I thought that was really cool to meet them now. Connor is Lily's tutor and he's a very outgoing golden retriever vibes, but also like preppy snobby vibes. He's pretty funny. And then in the last chapter I just read, 22, we meet Reich and he kind of gives off like grumpy vibes for some reason. Maybe just because of the situation and how they all met. Maybe that's why he's so grumpy, but he gives me real grumpy vibes. Also, he's like the first person to really address the elephant in the room between Lily and Lo, which I thought was really interesting. It's kind of like about time someone says something to them. Connor has also seen them kind of do things, but he hasn't really spoken out about them, so it's cool to see Reich actually saying something, even though he's only been around for a hot second. The last two chapters were pretty crazy. I didn't see them coming. I didn't know that was how the story was going to turn. It was very interesting and kind of caught me off guard because it started off as a super fun and happy chapter and then it led into chaos, basically. We've also seen Connor briefly talk about Rose Calloway, who is Lily's older sister. Rose and Connor are the love interest of one of the Calloway Sisters books, so that's going to be really cool to see. I'm kind of sensing a little enemies to lovers between the two of them, but I'm not entirely really sure just yet. The tabbing is also coming along pretty well. I've been tabbing like crazy. I actually ran out of the one color I was using in the beginning of the book, so I had to switch over to a like different shade of purple, but it's not very noticeable, so that's okay. I did tab a quote by Reich because, as I mentioned, he's kind of the first person to address the elephant in the room, and he told Lily in the middle of all the chaos happening, "Does it hurt hearing the truth? Has anyone told it to you before?" That was a very important quote, I thought, just because, again, it's the first time anyone has addressed the problems. And then a lot of the other quotes that I highlighted and tabbed in the past few chapters were actually quotes from Connor, because he does make some pretty funny assumptions, and I do really like the way he just kind of inserts himself into Lily and Lo's lives. I'm going to be your friend now, and you can't get rid of me mentality. We are going to keep going. We are almost done with it. I'm really excited. It's a little bit later. It's not like too much later though. Like last time we talked, I was only like 40 or 50 pages from where I am now. For reference, I'm on chapter 27, page 273. I think I've only read like 2 or 3 chapters since the last time we talked, because I actually switched over to the audiobook version of this because I was helping Chris cook and clean up, and we were just kind of hanging out. So I switched over to the audiobook version, listened to a few chapters over there, and it was... But I am currently about to get unready for the night, do my little night routine, and I thought I would talk to you guys a little bit about the book while showing you guys my night routine. So starting off, I always do my skincare routine, and then I go in and do my hair routine, and then I finish off with brushing my teeth and stuff like that. To remove my makeup every night, I go in with the Curology makeup remover. And I use the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. This stuff literally does wonders for my skin. So then every night for my hair, I actually will just apply a little hair oil to the ends. No major changes, except Reich is like inserting himself into Lily and Lo's life now, and very similar to how Connor did, and I just kind of like the whole dynamic that's going on, and I like that we're kind of getting an insight into these other characters. We do briefly get to see Connor and Rose in action. I personally am loving these side characters. I think Connor and Reich are hilarious, but they're also just amazing characters in general. Here is our tabbing progress. I'm getting kind of anxious though the more we go on, because I feel like we're definitely hitting like that climax in the story, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen or how it's going to twist and turn, so I am a bit nervous about it. But we are on chapter 27, page 273. We have about 100 pages to go, like literally just this littlest bit left, so I think I'm actually going to go finish it up. I'll see you guys in the morning. So I just finished up this book last night, and literally, wow. Okay, just wow. I am so shook by the storyline of this book, because going into it, I really did not expect the things that happened in it to actually happen. And to be honest, I don't know what I really expected going into this book, but it just wasn't that. So before I jump in to my review of the book, my rating, stuff like that, I'm going to talk spoilers for a brief moment. So if you're seeing this, if you're watching this, you can skip ahead if you have not read this book yet. I'm going to talk spoilers for about 2-3 minutes. Okay, hi, how's it going? Welcome to the spoiler section of this video. I think I said it in the beginning of this video, but I'm always really nervous going into books that are super hyped up, because I just have this feeling that I'm going to be either underwhelmed by them or severely disappointed by them. With this book, it's kind of like a mix of those feelings. I thought this was a very, I don't even know the right words to say. It was It was very interesting. I have to say, Lily and Lo irritated me throughout the entire story. With that being said, it's because of their addictions, and I feel like that's the whole point of this story. I think Lily and Lo's characters were really sweet, but I have to say the one spoiler that I really want to talk about is I really loved the ending of this book. It was such a relief to see Lo kind of accept the fact that he has a problem. And I think it was such a big step for him to be like, I need to go to rehab. I really enjoyed the ending of this book. It is probably one of my favorite endings of a book I have read in a very long time. I liked how he asked Lily to wait for him. I thought it was a really good and powerful ending. I thought it was really cool that Lo stood up to his father and was like, hey, I have a problem. It's mostly because of you and you won't accept that, so I'm going to do what's best for me and go to rehab. And I'm very interested to see how it's going to play out in the books following this. I also have to say, Ryke coming out and being Lo's brother, I wasn't really shocked by it. Literally like a chapter or two before he finds that out, Lily's watching both of them and she just so happens to say, wow, Ryke and Lo look so similar. They could be brothers. And I'm just like, so they must be brothers then, right? They're probably brothers. I thought that was a really cool twist on the story too. I really liked that Ryke was so supportive of Lo and just stepped up to take care of him. I thought that was such a cool little spin to the story. It made me fall in love with Ryke's character. I also fell in love with Connor's character. I just feel like I found myself loving Ryke and Connor more than Lily and Lo for some reason. I thought their characters were just so cool, how they literally pushed everything aside to help their friends and just be there for them. I just thought that was really cool. I really liked that part. And then at the very end, I literally highlighted half this page because it was right before Lo took off to go to rehab and him and Lily are saying their goodbyes, and I just loved this scene so much. I never wanted to leave you here and put you in pain, Lil. You have to know that this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It's harder than saying no to my father, than rejecting the trust fund. This right here kills me. And I think that just showed how strong and deep their love was for one another. I thought this book was a really interesting and cool read because I've never read anything about addiction before. It was very intriguing to me, but I have to say, in the beginning of this video, I talked about how I don't like reading books that are super hyped up because I feel like I'm always left very underwhelmed or very disappointed, and I kind of have like a mix of those emotions for this book. Although I really liked this book, I liked the idea of it. I thought the love story was a very powerful but different kind. It wasn't it for me. I feel like I've heard so many people actually talk about the Addicted series and say that the first book isn't their favorite, that if you keep going, the books definitely get better, and the Calloway sisters is like god tier when it comes to romance. So I cannot wait to move forward with this series and read the books following it because I think I will really like it, and especially when I'm getting into the other character stories, I think I'll fall in love with it even more. But the first book just wasn't it for me. I found myself getting very, very annoyed with Lily and Lo. I just found them to be selfish, to be quite honest, but I think that's the whole point of this story, and what the authors wanted us to see was that because they have addictions, that's how people act, and they literally can't control themselves. So I think the authors did a really good job in showing us what it's like to see people with addictions and how hard it is for them to change them. So although I found Lily and Lo a tad annoying and selfish, I had to take a step back and remember it's not them, it's their addictions. That was a very interesting thing that I had to kind of navigate while reading this story. Aside from that, I thought Lily and Lo's story was very interesting. I did really love their love for one another. You can definitely tell in this entire book how much they love each other, how much they would do for each other. Although the story is about Lily and Lo, I found myself so fascinated with Connor and Ryke. I think their characters are so interesting. They're so funny. I would say this is a very easy, fast read. I feel like I really got a good insight into all the characters without having like a bunch of random slow filler parts of it, so I thought that was really cool. So with all that being said, the final rating I have given this book would have to be a 3-star rating. I have seen so many people actually rate this 3 stars, and they go on and rate the rest of the books 4 or 5 stars, so I'm super excited to keep going on in the series and see what happens. happens. I only gave this 3 stars because, again, I just feel like there was something missing from the story and it just wasn't doing it for me. The ending was incredible. I love the ending for this book. If I had to rate just the ending would literally be probably 5 stars for me because I thought it was just so good. But for the rest of the book, there were just certain parts I was like, are you kidding? Although it is a 3-star rating, I would still recommend reading it because I think it's such an interesting topic to cover. I'm happy we finally got to tackle this read after an entire year of recommendations, requests to read it. We finally did it. And I have to say, I'm really excited to move on and read the next books in the series. I actually have the next 2. I have Ricochet and Addicted for now. These are the next 2 books in the series, and then we actually jump right into Calloway Sisters book 1. Kiss the Sky comes right after Addicted After All, so I'm super excited for that one. I believe that is Rose and Connor's story, and they kind of give me a little enemies to lovers vibe. I'm really excited for their story. I'm excited for Daisy's story. If you have read the series, let me know down below what you thought about it, if you enjoyed it or if you didn't really enjoy it. Let me know down below because I feel like I have only seen really good things about this entire series, and now that I've read book 1, I can see the hype, but not a lot. Also, let me know who your favorite couple is. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading vlog today. It was a little bit different from my normal reading vlog style. I thought I'd change it up a bit, make things a little bit more interesting. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you had fun. I know I had fun. Let's face it, anytime we're sitting around reading books together, it's literally like the best thing in the world to me. If you've made it this far in the video, comment the red heart emoji. I feel like that's the most fitting emoji for this series. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video.